through, just east of Amarillo, east of the Llano Estacado. Big tornado.
Almost 600 migrants have arrived on the Italian island of Sicily, all believed to be from sub-Saharan Africa. Among them, 58 children and 10 pregnant women. This comes amid news 15 migrants were arrested in Palermo after being accused of throwing Christians into the sea. According to reports, an interreligious fight had broken out on the migrant vessel after a group of Nigerian and Ghanaian passengers declared they were Christian. 12 of them were allegedly thrown off the boat before drowning in the Mediterranean. Those arrested came from Mali, Senegal, and the Ivory Coast. The number of African migrants making the dangerous sea crossing has surged in recent months, with Italy the usual first port of call. The country claims it's had to carry out 90% of the rescue operations and has called on the European Union to help shoulder the burden.
ABC 15 leading the charge on breaking news tonight, learning a dispute over a family business is what led to a gruesome murder-suicide.
5 people are dead, including the suspected shooter. ABC 15's Navita Fergani first on the scene near 44th Street in Bell. And Navita, I hear you have some exclusive video where we get to see the survivors from this.
Yeah, a very dramatic situation out here, and police are still investigating. There were 4 survivors, including 2 very young children, and Phoenix police believe that if those folks did not get out, they too would have been harmed. Yellow tape marks off a home where violence broke out.
What we have here behind us, it looks as though anybody in the house was going to be killed.
3 brothers, their mother, and the wife of one of the brothers were found dead.
It's happened 2 doors down from us, and it just blows your mind.
A gun was found next to one of the men with a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
You just wonder what it takes in a person's mind to escalate a situation to the point where they're going to take people's lives.
An entire family killed within minutes after a fight breaks out, but there were a few that were able to escape. A woman was able to grab 2 very young children and run out the back while on the phone with 911. Dispatch could hear gunshots in the background.
I think the person's extremely courageous.
That call got Phoenix PD out surrounding the house, and soon after they arrived, we see ABC exclusive video of another woman who says she was hiding in the bathroom when the shots were fired. She came out with her hands up.
The fear and the anxiety must be through the roof. I can't even imagine what would be going through your mind, wondering A, what's going on out there, and B, am I next?
Neighbors say they're saddened by the family's tragic loss, but are also thankful no one else got hurt.
I'm glad it didn't escalate outside their walls.
And you can see a group of investigators huddled right there next to the command center. They are waiting on a search warrant to get inside that home to try to figure out exactly what happened and really take a look at the scene. I can tell you right now that the neighbors here tell me that this family owns a limousine business and that investigators are working with the 2 women that were able to escape, trying to figure out exactly what happened just minutes before the fight broke out.
And so grateful those children got out. Thank you, Navita.
Federal prosecutors announced the arrest of an Ohio man accused of training with terrorists in Syria and plotting an attack here in the United States. Let's get right to CNN's justice reporter, Evan Perez, who joins us live with the late-breaking details. What do we know about this case out of Ohio?
His name, Jake, his name is Abdirrahman Sheikh Mohammed. He's 23 years old. He's from Columbus, Ohio. This is a case of someone who actually left the United States in April of 2014, got training in arms, explosives, combat with the al-Nusra Front in Syria.
That's the Al-Qaeda.
The Al-Qaeda, yes, exactly. And came back to the United States 2 months later. That's in June of 2014. That's a couple days after his brother, who went by the name Aiden, who left the United States in 2013, was killed fighting with Nusra Front in June of 2014. So just a couple of days later, he gets on a plane, comes back to the United States. Now, the FBI says he told a friend that while he was over there getting training, an al-Nusra cleric told him that he should come back to the United States and carry out domestic terror attacks here in this country. What he said he was thinking of doing was attacking cops, the military execution style. Now, this is a guy who became a U.S. citizen only in February of last year. Just a couple of days later, he applies for a passport, already had plans, according to the FBI, to travel over there to join these terrorist groups.
How did he end up on the radar screen of law enforcement?
It's not clear exactly, but it appears most likely through his brother. It looks like the FBI was looking at the brother for traveling over to Syria, and they have a lot of communications between those two. You might ask, why didn't they arrest him when he came back last June from the area, from the region? It appears they didn't have enough evidence against him, and so they wanted to watch him some more. Apparently, this case has been in the works for about a year and a half.
In South Louisiana, a sheriff's deputy is shot in an ambush outside a school this morning. Authorities say Corporal Bert Hazeltine was taken to a New Orleans hospital after being shot while directing school traffic. It happened in St. Charles Parish. A witness told investigators she heard more than a dozen shots. A suspect was quickly taken into custody, but authorities believe the shooting may have been random.
Yeah, it was very emotional for us. I mean, we don't have this. I mean, it's just really, as far as us being involved in violence like this with shooting. I mean, I don't remember the last incident. I mean, that's, and I've been doing this for 19 years, as sheriff. So unfortunately, it can happen anywhere at any time, even in in Paradis, Louisiana, where you'd least expect it.
Hazeltine is in guarded but stable condition in a New Orleans hospital. The officer was wearing a bulletproof vest, which doctors say saved his life. No one else was hurt in that shooting.
Rumblings from Peru's Ubinas volcano set off intense mudslides that blocked off access to the town of Ubinas, some 700 miles south of Lima. Peru's Geological Institute of Mining and Metallurgy reported multiple explosions on Sunday, scattered gases and ash hundreds of feet into the air. The lava-like river of mud and rock flowed down the slopes of the volcano that has seen increased activity in the last 2 years. Local communities have been warned that further explosions from the volcano could occur, but have not evacuated any people nearby. I'm Danielle Banks, the Weather Channel.
The family says one-year-old Malaja was declared brain dead after being shot in the head Thursday afternoon in what police are calling a road rage incident. And the family wants justice.
I want revenge! And all for what? And all for what? You killed my niece! And she did what? Nothing!
She was originally pronounced dead by police, who later said she was placed on life support. The shooting happened here in Kent, south of Seattle, when 2 cars reportedly tried to turn down a road at the exact same time. Neighbors rushed from their homes after hearing the gunshots.
People were doing CPR on the baby, and the mother was hysterics, and the dad was hysterics too.
A devastating turn of events, where the family says she should have been safe in a car seat. Police were searching for the perpetrators who reportedly fled the scene.
Welcome back to Hannity. Another vicious attack caught on tape, this time at a gas station in Memphis, Tennessee, where a man who was walking a scared elderly woman to her car was literally rushed and beaten by a mob of teenagers. Joining us now is the man viciously beaten in that video, Orden Williams, Jr. Sir, thank you for being here. By the way, was that the little girl that was in your car?
A little boy.
I'm
yes,
sorry,
sir.
I can't see. I thought I'd read in the paper a girl, but what's his name?
Joseph Williams.
Well, all right. So you're in a convenience store. We'll show the tape again. Walk us through. There's an elderly woman that wants to go to the car. You decide, because there's a lot of kids out there and she's nervous, right? You want to walk her to her car, right?
Yes, sir. Actually, the kids were doing more than just loitering. They were in the parking lot, jumping up and down, throwing gang symbols. You know, it was kind of like a pep rally. All right. And that's what made her scared.
All right, so let me go back to the beginning of this tape here. So the woman sees all these kids that we don't see in the beginning of the video. We can re-rack that. And
Yes, sir.
she wants you to walk her out. So you're being a good Samaritan. You walk the lady out to her car, and then all of a sudden, you know, these kids come up to you, and you get cold-cocked here, literally from behind. There you are, and then here comes the kids. Did you say anything to them? Because that one kid punches you right in the back of the head. What did you say to them?
When he hit me, I turned around. I said, "Is that your best shot?" And you know what time it is. And that's when the guy to the right of him, that's when he hit me. And my first thought was to get inside of the store so I could get my back against the wall to fight back. But the store owner,
he wouldn't open the door.
So I couldn't get in, so I had to go to my family vehicle, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep my family and the lady I was protecting safe.
So in other words, your baby, your son was in the car, your family's in the car, so you purposely put yourself out there. They wouldn't let you in the store, and all these kids are pounding on you. How bad are your injuries?
They're not bad. My lower back, it has some problems, but as far as facial, no problems. I mean, I came out okay, but I have, you know, some lower back issues.
But you had a gun with you.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I don't want to say what I had, but I had something to protect me and my family. And
well, you said in a previous interview you had a gun. You said in a previous interview you had a gun.
Yeah, it was a tough call because it's kids involved, and to pull a gun on kids and to kill kids, after what I went through, I knew after when I got in the car that they didn't do any damage. I played college football. I know what being hurt is all about, and I knew they did no damage. So at that point, I saw no need to pull out anything to give me a peace of mind.
You would have been within your rights to defend yourself, and I applaud you for your discipline. What do you want to have happen to these kids? You want these kids all prosecuted? We have their faces on video. Shouldn't they be prosecuted?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope MPD works diligently in prosecuting all of these kids, because it's really bad. It's really bad that they are doing this in broad daylight. This was a terrorist act.
Yeah.
That's what it was. This lady could have lost her life. I could have lost mine in broad daylight.
Yeah.
And this
Look,
was
those
about
kids took
4
a good
o'clock in the
shot at you.
afternoon.
I mean,
everybody
he
was
cold-cocked you
outside.
from behind, and then the other kid came in with a roundhouse. I mean, well, listen, I applaud you. I think it was very, first of all, kind of you to take that woman to her car. Amazing discipline that you had, that you were taking those blows and you didn't pull out your weapon. Really incredible patience on your part, and thank you for telling your story.
Yes, sir.
All right, joining us now with reaction is the Black Sphere's Kevin Jackson, Fox News contributor David Webb. Do we both agree, David, I'll ask you first, do we agree that he had every right in that moment to pull out his weapon?
Yeah, in defense, he had that right, but his decision was based on safety. His decision, the safety of his family, also, frankly, the safety of those kids. He figured if he could take it, I guess, in that moment, he would.
How did he know, though? I mean, Kevin, what do you think? Because really, I mean, those blows were serious, hard blows to the head. I mean, at some point, he could have been rendered unconscious. They could have killed him. He could have had severe injuries. Turns out he didn't. But certainly his life, I think an argument could be made, is in jeopardy here.
Absolutely. He got very lucky, because when you get hit from behind, and as a fighter, I can tell you, you want to know where shots are coming from. The shot that you take that you can't see is the one that really gets you. So he got extremely lucky. And the kids are very lucky, because I know a lot of people who wouldn't have shown that level of restraint.
And as a fighter, I look at the shots that he took. He took a couple of pretty heavy blows there, and you can't even see the blows that he's getting when he's up against the window.
Right. No, look, the blows he took, all of this played out. But, Sean, there's a bigger problem here. The bigger problem is, where do we have gangs of kids roaming the streets in America doing this? You know, this is a larger context. The black community, and any community, but especially right here, look at this. This is a gang of black kids. Where's President Obama? Where's Al Sharpton? Where are the purported black leaders?
Not going to happen.
You know what? The Kevin Jacksons of the world, the other people, the C.L. Bryants, the ones that they should be listening to, the Allen West, turn to them and look at what you can do. These kids, they're killing their own future.
Kevin, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction. Just like Ferguson, even though we have these kids' video on tape, we're not going to arrest them. And that pretty much is a license granted to these kids to just do it again. Am I wrong?
Well, that's what's been happening. You're exactly right. I don't know if you recall the case where a couple, I think it was two white couples, went to a McDonald's, similar situation. They lost their lives. The two boys were killed, and they lost their lives. And in this particular case, the sad part is, here's a guy doing a favor to a lady who's obviously scared. He's just being a good Samaritan. He happens to be black, and these kids decide to attack him. And I think the bigger narrative, to David's point, is you're talking about kids who are in prep school. These are kids that are on their way to college. It's pretty pathetic.
All right, guys. Thanks. Good to see you both.
Good to see you.
Have you seen this videotape? Quite remarkable. Quick thinking on a subway platform. A man falls onto a train track. A commuter is walking along the edge of the subway platform. There it is, Philadelphia. Loses his footing, slips and falls. An Eagles fan sees the guy on the tracks, doesn't hesitate, jumps down, springing into action, and then lifts the man to safety. Other passengers pitching in, pulling them both back onto the platform.
I was looking the other way, and I heard people scream, and I turned around, and I saw him down, so I jumped down, picked him up. Two other guys picked him up, and they got me out.
Well, the man who fell suffering multiple fractures when he hit the ground, including a broken back. He is expected to recover.
Wow, lucky.
call for a look at the traffic because crazy, it is the morning commute. Luckily, this is northbound. No one's heading into town. What do you see with the effect?
Imagine being asleep and then being stung by bees and waking up and going, ow.
Except the 67-year-old was stabbed with a pen by a woman sitting next to him.
I was asleep at the time when the attack happened.
Lenny Mordarski and his friend were on board Southwest Flight 577 at Midway Airport in Chicago, getting ready to fly back to Manchester, New Hampshire.
We were in Vegas at AB for the big broadcast show. Our flight got delayed. I think the woman who's sitting next to us was a little cranky about that.
I just heard the guy scream. They were sitting right in front of us. Yeah, right in front of us, and I heard the guy just like yell out, and it says, "She stabbed me."
Lenny thinks he may have leaned over in his sleep, and that ticked the 64-year-old off.
The entire time, all of us that were sitting around them thought they were a little old married couple because they were kind of bickering a little back and forth.
But no one would ever think the lady sitting next to him would do that.
At first, we thought the guy, we thought, no, this little old lady didn't do that. But yeah, she did, evidently.
The woman was escorted off the plane, and everyone clapped.
I mean, she said zero at this point, and all I wanted to do was not be sitting next to her. That's all.
Walmart workers gather after the sudden closure of a store in Pico Rivera. The retail giant says it needs to fix plumbing problems, but some employees suspect the reason is more personal. CBS 2's Cara Finstrom reports.
These Walmart employees who learned days ago their Pico Rivera store is closing lined up outside a Rosemead hotel and were called in one by managers to talk about their jobs.
I have nothing but faith that we're going to get transferred into different stores.
But other employees told us they are worried. This week, Walmart abruptly closed not only its Pico Rivera store, but also 4 others in Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida, saying they're dealing with extensive and costly plumbing problems. A spokesperson tells us the 530 workers here will get their pay for 60 days with opportunities to transfer or to reapply for their original jobs when this store reopens in 6 months. Some workers say the store has been a hotbed for higher wage and better benefits demonstrations and believe they were targeted.
They think they got rid of the problem, but no.
You know, we're still going to fight for what we believe in.
Many workers told us there were clear plumbing problems here, but others question if a shutdown was necessary to fix them or a way to bring back workers at lower wages and to avoid upcoming raises.
How is it that they shut down the store 2 months before that raise is supposed to go in?
Pico Rivera's city manager says the city itself was blindsided by the move and did not receive any permit requests, which is unusual. Stalkers at the Walmart say they may have been given abrupt notice, but they had seen warning signs for days.
There was no shipments coming in, and we were all kind of like skeptical about it, like what's going on.
There was originally a demonstration planned for today, but organizers say employees wanted to instead focus on talking with company leaders. Now they say they're planning a rally for outside this store on Monday. Reporting from Pico Rivera, Cara Finstrom, CBS 2 News.